Washington, D.C., U.S., September 16. U.S. President Donald Trump on Tuesday issued a stern warning to Europe to immediately halt purchases of Russian oil in an effort to stop Moscow's funding of its conflict efforts in Ukraine. Trump reiterated his frustration with European nations for continuing to buy Russian energy despite their vocal support for Ukraine. Well, he has to get going and make a deal. Zelenskyy will have to make a deal, and Europe has to stop buying oil from Russia. They talk, but they have to stop buying oil from Russia, Trump said, speaking to reporters ahead of his upcoming state visit to the United Kingdom. Trump further stated that Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelenskyy should make a deal to end the ongoing conflict. When pressed on whether he is exerting pressure on Europe and NATO countries to cease these imports, Trump confirmed his stance without hesitation. Trump described the Russia-Ukraine conflict as a war that should have never happened, blaming it on deep-seated animosity between the leaders of both the nations involved in the conflict. I do. But here is the problem, you know the problem. They are purchasing Russian oil. I don't want them purchasing Russian oil, and they have to stop immediately. It's not fair to us. They are purchasing Russian oil, he added. The country is in trouble. But I will get it stopped. I've stopped 7 wars in 8 months. I thought it would be easiest, but it is not. There is tremendous hatred between Zelenskyy and Putin. But we're going to get it, he asserted, speaking to reporters. Trump said, they're not doing the job. NATO has to get together. Europe has to get together. Europe is my friend, but Europe is buying oil from Russia. I don't want them to buy oil. And the sanctions that they're putting on are not tough enough. And I'm willing to do sanctions, but they're going to have to toughen up their sanctions commensurate with what I'm doing. Earlier on Monday, Trump had called on NATO and European nations to take stronger action against Russia, particularly criticizing Europe for continuing to buy oil from Moscow. Just to clarify, you wouldn't move ahead until NATO moves ahead. Well, I'm ready to move ahead, but they have to do it. But right now they're talking and they're not doing. Look, they're buying oil from Russia. We're not buying oil from Russia. They're buying a lot of oil from Russia. That's not the deal, he added. When asked about holding a summit to mediate between Russia and Ukraine, he affirmed, whether you call it a summit or just a get-together, doesn't matter, but I'll probably have to get they to hate each other so much they almost can't talk. They're incapable of talking to each other. He also criticized European nations for continuing to import liquefied natural gas from Russia. It's not the deal, though. The deal is they're not supposed, whether it's natural gas or whether it's cigarettes, I don't care. They're not supposed to be buying from Russia, he added. Recently, Trump wrote a letter to NATO nations, stating, I am ready to do major sanctions on Russia when all NATO nations have agreed, and started, to do the same thing, and when all NATO nations stop buying oil from Russia. Further, Trump proposed that NATO impose tariffs of 50% to 100% on China. I believe that this, plus NATO, as a group, placing 50% to 100% tariffs on China, to be fully withdrawn after the war with Russia and Ukraine is ended, will also be of great help in ending this deadly,